A lie is defined by Merriam-Webster as an assertion of something known or believed by the speaker or writer to be untrue, with intent to deceive. By June 22, 1940, France had fallen. The Third Republic was dissolved, and in its place the Vichy regime, headed by former World War I hero Marshal Philippe Pétain, took the reins. At this point in the war, Britain was in a difficult situation. Their allies had fallen to either Germany or the Soviet Union. Resistance efforts in mainland Europe and the feeble Free France movement, which emerged from the fall of France, were weak, to say the least. Britain was truly alone. Sure, they had other dominions like Canada, Australia, and India, and maybe Africa. However, this wouldn't be enough to wage a successful war against the Germans and potentially even the Russians. It's important to take note that the USSR and the Germans were still on friendly terms, and it didn't seem that the non-aggression pact would be broken anytime soon. So, the British looked across the Atlantic to an old friend during the First World War, the United States. The United States, at this point, wasn't so keen on entering another European war. The memory of World War I had not been lost in the American public, as many still remembered their sons and fathers going off to Europe and returning in coffins. Evidence of American resistance to foreign conflicts can be seen in the several pieces of legislation that were passed in order to protect American neutrality, such as the Neutrality Act of 1935, which prohibited exporting arms and ammunition to any foreign nation at war. Groups such as the America First Committee, also Americans who were pulled immediately after the war began in September 1939, overwhelmingly hoped for the defeat of Germany, but more than 90% opposed getting involved in the conflict. Till there, many Americans did not want to fight in a European war. This attitude that many Americans felt toward the war in Europe was unacceptable to the British, who were facing Germany and potentially Japan all alone. They would do whatever it took to bring the U.S. into the war to help them out. British intelligence, such as the British Security Coordination, or BSC, subverted American politics, perception of the war, and much more. Think of the BSC as the British CIA during 1940 and 41. Now that I got through some of the background, let's get to the point of the video, the map. The BSC aimed to illustrate Germany as a grand menace to the American public and government. They attempted to do this by fear-mongering the U.S. and into thinking that if Germany won the war in Europe, then they would infringe on the Monroe Doctrine and get involved in South America. But how did the British convince the almighty American government into thinking this map was real? Well, let's start in Toronto, Canada, where a phony document factory called Station M made the map in less than 48 hours. William Stephenson, the head of the BSC, then arranged for the FBI to find the map during a raid on the German safe house. The map then made its way up the chain of command until it reached FDR himself. On the 27th of October, 1941, in his Navy Day speech, FDR spit out the truth. Well,
I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government. They have divided South America into 5 vassal states, bringing the whole continent under their domination.
Over time, FDR had been fooled and had also unknowingly deceived the American public into thinking that the Germans were interested in the New World. The American response to the map can be seen later on in the war, around 1942, when FDR discovered that he had been fooled. FDR's immediate reaction was to send Stephenson back to the UK. However, his advisors had to convince him to drop the issue, on the grounds that it would be a bit embarrassing to admit that the speech on October 27th was based on a lie. The British, in 1942, were in better shape than they had been in 1940. By 1942, both the US and the USSR had been brought into the Second War to end all wars. The propaganda war that the British employed had been successful in putting down any pro-German or pro-isolationist voices in the United States through pro-British and anti-German stories planted in newspapers, for the most part. The Germans, on the other hand, were shocked at FDR's speech. They had no idea where the map came from. On November 1st, the Reich government responded to FDR's speech by stating that, quote, in answer, the Reich government declares, 1. There exists near a map prepared in Germany by the Reich government regarding the dividing up of Central, South America, nor a document pronounced by the Reich government regarding the dissolution of religions in the world. Therefore, both are forgeries of the clumsiest, grossest type. 2. Assertions of the conquest of South America by Germany and eliminations of the religions of the churches in the world and their replacement by National Socialist Church are so nonsensical and absurd that it's superfluous for the Reich government to discuss them. The rest of Germany's response is in the description if you'd like to check it out. It seems that in this unique case that Germany did nothing wrong. I'm talking about the map here, by the way. This small yet interesting example in history is a lesson that should be learned by not only countries but people as well. I made this video because I found the extent to which supposed allies went to deceiving the US in times of war simply incredible. I also watched a documentary that quote-unquote inspired me. The link to the documentary is in the description below if you'd like to give it a watch. I hope to make a series in the future dedicated to espionage one day. Any input or recommendations are really appreciated. See you next time. Bye.